Here at TestDrive, we're often asked to do things that others won't do or can't do. This week is a prime example, as I have been trying to figure out if the Land Rover Defender makes sense with a V8 under the hood. Well, the short answer is yes. Yes, it does. And the long answer is still yes, but here's why. Now, our vehicle, as tested, is about $132,000 Canadian. And this isn't technically the V8 model. This is the SE that happens to have the P500 V8 engine. This is still a 5-liter supercharged V8, just produces a little bit less, like a little bit less power. Jaguar Land Rover uses that P number to say exactly how much, brake horsepower the vehicle has. So this P500 comes in at 493 horsepower and 461 pound-feet of torque, but it's not the same one that you would get if you went with the P525. Now, I want to talk about the fuel efficiency on this because you would expect that a V8 would be less fuel efficient. When I drove the Defender 130 outbound back in February, I completed our test loop in 11.4 liters per 100 kilometers, which is not too bad overall. Keep in mind the Defender 130 is about a foot longer and has a bit of extra weight, because it is a longer vehicle. It had some extra metal paneling on it on top of the regular 130 because it was the outbound. This did it in better than I had expected. We completed our test loop in this vehicle in eco mode in 10.2 liters per 100 kilometers. That's 1.2 liters per 100 kilometers better with a V8. Now, this is a shorter vehicle, so I'm assuming that that's part of the reason, and maybe because it's nicer out. I always have the climate set to the same thing, but I'm just surprised. So this has been more fuel efficient, at least when it comes to that test loop. Now, again, we've talked about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that your results will be the same. Currently, I'm averaging, driving around here in town, not doing too much highway stuff as it is. We're currently at 17.1 liters per 100 kilometers. That's not great, but it still works out. You're buying a V8 because you want that power performance, and I'm telling you, the reason you want this one is for this. Ooh. Now, yeah, there was a little bit of supercharger delay there. Really, the transmission was just trying to figure out which gear I needed to be in. But it sounds good. And it's not so much from the back of the car. It is that supercharger whine, especially if you've got the windows down. Ooh, that thing sounds meaty. So I do like having it for that. You do have the tow package on this. So if you wanted to tow things, you've got a little bit better capabilities with that with the V8. But ultimately, you're buying a luxury SUV. You want to have that performance. Ooh. Oh boy. Yeah, that's what you pay for. And we've talked about it when it comes to a lot of these luxury class vehicles. The people who are buying these, they don't care about the fuel efficiency. They care about having the luxury experience. There really isn't much more that you can get out of a luxury experience than having a V8, and a supercharged V8 at that makes it even better. So yeah, I would definitely go with this. And in fact, this is a really nice build. I do like this. We've got the county graphics on the exterior. So we do have the Fuji white paint with the Tasman blue roof and tailgate. Now, I wasn't too fond of the tailgate at first. The trunk, it's blue, but then the Defender cap that goes on top of your spare tire is still Fuji white. I think that should have been blue, but regardless, I think it's a cool looking vehicle. You could have gotten the county package, which would have added things like mud flaps and other off-roady kind of bits to it. And as we've discussed multiple times when we've done the Defender over the years, you can have different accessories. This one doesn't have any of them, but that's fine. This comes extremely well equipped. I've got all the features that I would ultimately want at this price point. Head-up display, heated ventilated seats, quad zone climate control, huge sunroof, and then I love those little skylights that are in the trunk area. It just is so good. Plus, if you do have a pet and you want them to be comfortable in the back, there is a third zone setting, essentially allows you to turn on the trunk heat and ventilation so the pets can be comfortable as they're back there. So this is really the perfect SUV. It's why I like it so much. Do I have a pet? Absolutely not. But I just like it. I love having these vehicles, and that's why I wanted to jump on this one. And why it kind of confused me at first, because I'm like, oh, it's not really the V8 model. It happens to have a V8, but it's not the V8 model. But oh yes, it does. Oh, I mean, come on. You never get old of that. It sounds so good. It performs really well. I mean, the pickup and go, especially at the lower speed stuff, is excellent. And it always puts a smile on your face. So yeah, I mean, I loved the inline six. I did. And you know, for me, somebody who isn't really at that point in my life where I can afford to throw away money on gas, I would most likely go with that. But it is fun to drive this. This has not been a disappointment whatsoever. And I think it's really the way to go. I mean, you know, you want to have a big engine that powers a big vehicle like this, whether you're doing off-roading or not. I mean, let's be honest, most of the people who buy this vehicle here in North America aren't doing off-roading. They're going to be doing adventuring. You know, they might go to the beach, they might go to the cottage, things like that. So you might be on unimproved trails or roads, but you're not really going to be taking it hardcore off-roading, and that's fine. This vehicle can do it, but I'm not doing it with this vehicle because A, I don't have anywhere to do it, and B, I'm not a big off-road guy. I just like to enjoy it, and that's really what this is. It is, you know, a pavement queen. Oh, but come on. Oh, I mean, it just sounds so good. That's why you gotta get it, and that's why it's so much better to go with the Defender with the V8. It really makes the experience that much more luxurious, that much more enjoyable. I mean, I can come up with a ton of different words to describe it, but it definitely is the way to go. And it's not that unaffordable when you think about it. I mean, we've done a number of full-size luxury SUVs over the past couple months that are at the $130,000 price point, and they don't come with this level of sophistication. They don't come with the design that comes with this. I mean, I really do think the Defender is the best looking vehicle. It is comfortable. It is spacious. I have a commanding presence on the road. Not only do I sit high up, but I am super comfortable. The seats are great. The feel of everything is really what you would want at this level. I mean, there's a pretty good amount of customization to it. Is there any downsides to it? You know, the Meridian surround sound system, it's an upgrade. It's about $750, I believe. It's all right. I mean, it's worth the upgrade because it's not crazy expensive, but it's not in line with things like a Burmester or Bang & Olufsen system or some of the newer high-end stuff that's going into these top-end vehicles. So it gets the job done. And, you know, I mean, there's so many things you can add to this vehicle that it can get a little overwhelming. So that's something to consider as well. You really got to build it the way that you really want it. So I don't know how that will do overall in the used market. You know, something like this, like I said, I like the two-tone. It's growing on me, so you know, you've got some options when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, it's overall a really well optioned vehicle, and just makes me love the Defender even more. So if you're in the market for a vehicle like this, it's a no-brainer. You got to at least, the very minimum, take one of these V8s out and see how it is. Would the P525 be even better? I don't know. I mean, an extra like 25 horsepower, to me, it's not going to really make a huge difference, right? For what I'm doing day to day, this is going to be more than enough, and it does add quite a bit to the cost, because I believe the entry-level V8 with that P525 is about $136,000 Canadian, and then if you went with the Carpathian edition, I believe it's $154,000. So you can get them up in price very, very quickly, but this is definitely the way to go. I mean, the only thing that would really make this vehicle better would be a plug-in hybrid, and that would not come with a V8. So you've got your choices, you've got your options. This is really the best one. Now, as always, we do get back to everybody as often and as quickly as we can on the comments. So if you have any questions about this vehicle or this episode, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. We also invite you to subscribe to the channel as we make our way to our 50,000 subscriber milestone. So if you're watching in a couple of years, that might seem like a pretty small number compared to where we're at, but that's what we're going for here in the middle of 2024. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.